Yeah, but is he? When you say or when you sing simply the best, is he the best? I mean, he scored as many goals this season as Jamie Vardy. So is he just as good as well, Jamie Vardy?
Well, a lot of people would say Jamie Vardy's pretty special this year.
Playing with inferior players, I would
years.
say, possibly. You could say that. Liverpool aren't even top of the table. He got 1. Firmino got 3.
He's good, though. Salah, mate.
Really good. But when we're talking about the best player in the world, I mean, how do we go? Do we include goalkeepers, or am I right in saying, as I've said all along, they're not really
Should it be
footballers?
separate award, yeah.
Yeah,
separate award.
you could say that. What's it based on? Is it based on the goal at the weekend against Watford?
Goal against City just before
Goal against City, yeah, absolutely. But is it based on this season so far? Is it based on this weekend just gone? What's it based on? What are we based on? We've got to be clear with what we're talking about here.
So when the people say him right now, it's got to be right now, hasn't it? So his form right now, the last 2 games, he's been pretty good.
What's right now? The last 2 games?
Second half against Manchester City.
How can it just be the last 2 games?
Against Watford. Well, it's not. He's scored 10 in 10 this season.
Right, so
7
it's this
in the
season
Premier League.
so far?
Yeah, this season so far.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
I think there is other contenders as well. People are forgetting about some of the other divisions. I think Benzema at Real Madrid, he's got 10 in 10 this year. I think he's been pretty special.
Good shout, yeah.
So he's been pretty good. Lewandowski just keeps scoring goals no matter what.
There's another element to this, though. People refuse really to kind of bring into the debate.
Messi still win it no matter what. So it doesn't matter if he's the best in the world. Messi still wins.
Well, Messi can't be the best so far this season.
In a lot of people's eyes, he would be.
Well, I'd love to hear people defend that.
But I bet they would.
You know I love Messi. There's no way he's been the best player this season. He's barely played, for heaven's sake.
There'd still be journalists up and down the country who'd vote for him if there was a vote tomorrow.
Well, there'd be some saying Ronaldo because he scored a late winner against
and
Villarreal.
that's the problem we've had within football the last, 10 years?
This year, rather, Messi has won an international tournament. So that might count in his favour when we're coming to dishing out awards. For me, when we're talking about the Ballon d'Or, Jorginho wins it. But it's unfashionable for a defensive midfielder to win that kind of award. When we're talking about the best players in this season so far, Mo Salah is absolutely 100% in the conversation. But what annoys me is that nobody takes into account the pound-for-pound factor with it. So you look at the start to the season Brighton have had, for example. Nobody's going to even mention a Brighton player for best player so far this season. And maybe Brighton fans want to tell us who they think that is. When you look at West Ham and how well they've played in some... Brentford, I mean, they're a great example. And is it just because they're such a good team and organised so well that you can't pick out one individual from their team?
I think it is. Has there been one individual for Brentford that's been outstanding? Or has it been they've played so well at the togetherness? And same with Brighton. Has there been one player that's really, really stood out?
It's interesting.
So I think that's the point. But I think for Liverpool, I think he has been the player that stood out for Liverpool.
Tom has just tweeted us saying Vardy's a striker, Salah is a midfielder. I mean,
Salah's a striker, as part of a front three.
And if you were doing a squad, a
midfielder, and he scored 100 goals in no time from midfield, I think he'd have won the Ballon d'Or the last 4 years in a row.
I mean, you're living in the decades ago of 4-4-2 where wingers were called midfielders. I mean, you could say he plays wide rather than central, but there's no way he's not a goal-scoring, attacking player.
Yeah, he's a forward player.
He's not an orthodox number 9, I get that, but you can't call him a midfielder. That's absurd. And also, Chelsea are top of the table, so how come none of their players... I mentioned this last week, didn't I, about Antonio Rudiger. And all right, didn't play at the weekend, but this to me is... It's what's wrong with these awards. It so regularly goes to goal scorers because we all love goals. And that goal on Saturday was sensational, but it's against Watford. Watford, who've just committed a managerial crime by getting rid of the guy who took them up and has already won 2 of the first 7 games and appointed Ranieri. Nobody can make any sense of that decision whatsoever, by the way. And so he's come in, changed the system. It's all gone horribly wrong. And anybody, I mean, Liverpool got so lucky. Liverpool, again, got so lucky that they caught Watford on Saturday. I mean, anybody. Man City had gone there. Can you imagine the amount of goals they'd have racked up? It could have been even more. So Liverpool got very lucky there. But, they haven't beaten a good side at all. Liverpool are unbeaten. They're not top. They're scoring a lot of goals, more than anybody else in the division. Mo Salah is one of the best players. But is he the best player? Is he the best player in the Premier League? Is he the best player in the world? Have you all seen enough world football to know he's the best player in the world?
Well, it's a difficult one, and the obvious one stands out. He said Messi, I think he's only got 1 in 5 for PSG this year. He's out injured at the moment, but that'd be hard to put him in that, absolutely. Lewandowski's still scoring goals. Mbappe... Has he been as good as he normally is this season?
Haaland.
Neymar. I think Neymar's not been as good as he normally is.
Haaland, what is it, 49 in 49 games?
Haaland would be
What?
in that shout. I think De Bruyne is still in that shout, and I've said Benzema. Not many people will put Benzema in there, I reckon. And he's got 10 in 10.
It's an unfashionable name for some reason.
Yeah, and I think he's been pretty good. But you're right, Jorginho, if you look at the last 12 months, I mean, what a 12 months it's been from someone who didn't look as though he fitted into the Chelsea side to being part of two very successful teams.
I would definitely have Antonio Rudiger in there. I think Jorginho should win the Ballon d'Or. He's won for club and for country, and he's been a key member of that team. But again, these players who don't score goals regularly aren't mentioned. It does puzzle me how Liverpool can't be top of the table, and yet one of their players is being pushed and pushed and pushed as the best in the world right now. Why is there no Chelsea player being pushed and pushed and pushed as the best in the world right now? It's because Lukaku isn't scoring goals, hasn't scored in 6 games.
It is, like I said, we love goal scorers, but you've got to be excited. When Salah gets the ball in, he is exciting to watch. I do enjoy watching
Agree,
him.
totally.
I mean, they've pushed each other, Mane and Salah, for so many years. And let's say 1 minute it's Salah's the best, and then we're thinking, well, hang on a minute, Mane is going to end up being better than Salah. But now I honestly believe he has got in front of him. He's back to the top, and Salah's the main man now at Liverpool. And so many people are saying he's the best in the world. You look at pundits, some of the well-thought-of pundits in this country, and managers, by the way, are all saying Mo Salah, the way he's playing at this moment in time, everything about his game. Assists, his passing, running with the ball, his skills, his finishing, it's right up there, isn't it?
He's doing some very, very, very amazing things in his position. But other players in their positions are doing amazing things as well. And that's where we bring in Edouard Mendy. I'm going to go into some more detail about him later. But his performance on Saturday in his position was as good, if not better, probably better than Mo Salah's in his position on Saturday. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was a great performance from him, without a doubt. And I think we've seen it on so many occasions for Chelsea, haven't we? And that's been the game changer. One of the biggest things since he's come in to that Chelsea side, between the sticks, the defence have got total confidence in him. And I agree with you totally. If you're talking about, he's not even been nominated, has he? He's not even up there as the best goalkeeper. Other goalkeepers, probably trendier, would be mentioned in that, but for some reason he's not in that list.
And another thing, the way Liverpool play, very attacking, the heavy metal that Jurgen Klopp likes, it means as well that they're not totally, they don't seem too fussed about keeping a clean sheet. It's a different way of doing it to, say, Thomas Tuchel, for example. But we've seen Liverpool in recent games concede 2 at home to Man City, conceded 3 at Brentford, conceded 2 to AC Milan, and yes, they won the game, but they have that ability to score goals, but they also concede goals. The reason why they're scoring so many goals is because they aren't too bothered defensively. They're not worried about putting men behind the ball or playing 2 defensive midfielders in front of a back 4 and having the fullbacks being defensive.
I admire that.
100% admire
that.
But that makes Mo Salah's job easy. It's easier for him to shine in that team. Okay, so everybody right now would absolutely agree Mo Salah's better than Romelu Lukaku because Lukaku hasn't scored in 6 games. You stick Lukaku in that Liverpool side, he scores as many goals, doesn't he?
Well, does he?
It
depends, because Liverpool fans will tell us, and I'm going to talk a bit about Firmino later, but he popped in an hat-trick, right?
And nobody's mentioning it.
Nobody's mentioning it because they were all tap-ins, right? But yes, if it was going to be like that and he got tap-in after tap-in, Lukaku would have a field day, wouldn't he, at Liverpool? But realistically, he's been shy of goals because it's all been about Salah and Mane. They've been the ones who are scoring the goals.
It's listen, it's a debate that's rumbling on. It's a debate, there's no real right or wrong answer, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the right answer is Mo Salah, but there are others in contention, surely. I don't think we're going to find many Chelsea fans saying Mo Salah's the best player in the world right now, are we? Or have I got that wrong? 08717 223344 is Drive on talkSPORT with WeBuyAnyCar.com to find out how much your car's worth in under 60 seconds. Enter your reg number now.